You're sitting around at home, you're like, man, I have all these talents. I'm real into old suit coats that don't fit me, football, and spaghetti. So why can't I start a blog about all three? It doesn't make any sense. Or does it? Let's talk about it. Okay. So you love pizza, bocce ball, and aerial yoga. Why don't I start a blog about all three? It makes a lot of sense. So in theory, you plan to make money with ads. No matter what your blog post is about, ads are going to pay you similar amounts of money. So from your perspective, you're sitting there, you're thinking, okay, as long as I can drive traffic to these posts, it doesn't really matter what my niche is. If you're blogging about pizza, Chinese food, and running 5Ks, you're going to get traffic either way as long as you're targeting low competition stuff, and then the ads are going to pay you either way because they don't really care that much. And so why do you need a niche? It doesn't make any sense. I guess we could just end the video now, right? Whoa. Did you guys hear that, guys? I want to welcome my good friend Abe Lincoln to the podcast. What's going on, Abe?
Hey, it's me, Abe Lincoln, your best friend. I'm just here to say that, don't have a niche, it'll be harder to sell your audience stuff. And then we won't get to hang out ever. I like hanging out with you, man, we're best friends.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you feel that. I feel that the same way about you, Abe. I want to hang out with you all the time. Let's reconsider this niche thing. The reason you want to have a niche ultimately comes down to money. If you're content with the amount of money that ads pay per 1,000 visitors, then the reason for a niche goes way down. With ads, you're making somewhere between $10 to $30 per 1,000 page views. There's some people who are higher than that. There's some people who are lower than that. But kind of the median and the mean is somewhere in there. Which, coming from my background, isn't a ton of money. $10 per 1,000 page views, like, imagine 1,000 people. Like, 300 of those 1,000 people believe some pretty crazy stuff. The idea that you couldn't, like, sell one of them something for more than $10 is crazy. So basically, you are leaving a lot of money on the table by not trying to sell anything to your audience and relying on ads for revenue. So imagine you've got this sweet, nicheless website. It's about coffee, racquetball, and ping pong. Nailed it. Somebody types into Google, hey, blah, 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 how do I play ping pong? And then on your website, you can sell that person some ping pong related item that you have either created, you're drop shipping, or that you're affiliated with. And that's probably going to make a lot more money than ads would on your website to random traffic. Now imagine all of your other traffic about running 5Ks and racquetball and whatever else I said. All that traffic you can't sell a ping pong paddle to. So all that traffic is effectively worthless. Not worthless, but it's worth the rate of ads. All the effort you put into creating your own product won't work on that traffic. So like 3/4 of your website, won't benefit your product to your warm traffic, people that typed in something about the subject and actively wants it. You're going to make multiples of it. You're going to make upwards of $100, $200, $300 per 1,000 of them if you have a good enough product. Like, imagine 30xing your revenue. Now you're seeing why you need a niche. And creating a product is hard. It takes a ton of time. Even if you're drop shipping, it's a pain in the butt. Or you're doing print on demand or whatever, you still have to create something for each individual niche, and that's going to take up a bunch of your time, which you don't have. It takes time to create all this content. It takes time to create a product. It takes time to market that product, to set up a sales funnel. That's really how I want you to think about it. With one niche, maybe you have to build, 50 blog posts, 50 YouTube videos, and a product before you're making serious money. With two niches, you have to double that. You need 50 blog posts on the other niche, 50 YouTube videos on the other niche, and a product on the other niche. So if you are sitting around and you're like, hey, I have so many talents, I cannot be constrained to just one thing. Your niche can be very broad. So like if you're into soft shell crab, rockfish, and bass, that's all one niche. That's kind of like a seafood fishing niche depending on which angle you're approaching it from. I want to eat all those things right now. The reason I don't consider those separate niches is because you could conceptualize a product in which people visiting any of those subjects might want to buy. The mindset you have to have is, can I make something that people will buy when they go to this subject? If the answer is yes, then it's a topic that you can include. Like if you're into coffee, you don't have to stick just with coffee. You can break into tea. Like that's close enough where you can probably get away with it. Okay, other reasons you might want a niche. First one is Google. If you have any successful articles, create something similar that people will click through to, and Google will instantly give that article more credibility than if that didn't exist. Now, that is easier to do if all of your articles are related in some way. So like if you're blogging about Game of Thrones, succulents, and horse racing, it's going to be hard to make connections between all those things that's going to get people to click through. Okay, next reason you want a niche. You know those ads that follow you around the internet no matter where you go? You're on, you're on Facebook, you're on Google, you're on Gmail. You're playing a game on your mobile app and an ad pops up for the same thing that's been popping up on all the other platforms. Regardless as to whether or not you think those are ethical or like them or not, they become doable when you have a niche. So imagine you have a blog that's entirely about chess, and then you create some chess-based information product of some kind. Maybe you're offering, a course or something. You can retarget all the traffic that's been to your articles, and since they're already familiar with you and you've already helped them out, they're going to be the easiest people to sell to of all time, and this is going to be your most profitable ad campaign that you could possibly do. Now, if your blog was about chess, mountain biking, and beer guzzling, all the mountain biking and beer guzzling traffic is kind of worthless in that endeavor. You just cut the amount of money you're going to make by 2/3. Never good to do. Okay, reasons people give for not wanting to have a niche. The first one is, what if I run out of topic ideas? And to that I say, you probably won't. So it takes me a while to write a blog post. Like, I'm trying real hard right now, and I'm pumping out maybe 2 a week tops. Last year it was closer to 1 a week. At that rate, you would have to have a very, very narrow niche to run out of topic ideas. Like 50 topic ideas per year is not hard to come up with. I could come up with that in like an hour. I've already got a list of a couple hundred topics, and I think I could easily come up with a couple hundred more. And that will take me years to write all those posts. Concern number 2 I see with niches. People want to make sure that they're choosing a profitable niche. Like, what if I pick the wrong one and I get 100 posts into this and I find out, hey, I'm not making any money here? I think that's kind of an invalid concern. If you are just using advertising for revenue, you're going to fall probably within $10 to $30 per 1,000 page views, no matter what. Worst case scenario, the way you botched it is you're closer to 10 than 30, which would be, 60% less money. But that's not a ton of money for that amount of traffic anyway. Like, your thought process should be, before you get into it, like if you want to pick the right niche, can I one day create a product that people in this niche would buy? That's going to make you the most money. You can just forget advertisers, forget everything. I know advertisers will probably be your first step into monetization, and that's perfectly fine. But the big money is in creating your own thing. I actually have a very long blog post on things you can create if you need to get some ideas as to how this works. Check out my blog, SeanPorter.com. Next concern. People are worried that their niche is too saturated. So like somebody like me who gets into internet marketing, there's a million people. There's a million people and they're all selling you bullshit. I'm not. I would never do that to you. But there is a such thing as tons of competition. If you targeted weight loss in Google, you want to write an article about losing weight? Good luck. Good luck. You might rank on page 1,000. There's so many people who have tried to rank for that. And a lot of them have written good articles, and a lot of them are very established organizations, and you're never going to beat them. I do think, even in established niches like that, like a weight loss niche, there are random subjects that not a lot of people have covered that you can get into, but like those cracks are hard to find in something like that. And I do think there is something to perhaps avoiding it a little bit. Like, not that you can't do it. So my blog's about internet marketing. It gets traffic. I was nobody when I started as far as the internet was concerned. So it's possible, although it took me a very long time. Like my first year, I got no traffic whatsoever. And my articles were really good. I put a ton of effort into them. And that's kind of what I worry about, is that you're going to work for a year really hard, you're going to get no traffic, and then you're going to give up, you're going to walk away, and that's it for you. You're done. And so I do think there is something to not going after the most competitive topics in the industry. Anything business related, weight loss. That said, I do think with a platform like YouTube, you can rise to the top. So with YouTube, I have seen all sorts of losers like myself get tons of traffic just out of nowhere, like on really competitive subjects. Like I've seen random guys with like emotional issues who used to be fat, like I currently am, and they lost like 80 pounds and now they're at the top of YouTube. They've got 100,000 subscribers. It's crazy. I do think if you have a certain level of talent, particularly with video, that you could still do pretty great in a competitive niche. But that's more of a YouTube thing than a blogging thing. Final one is authenticity. So I don't recommend you pick a topic that you hate. If you can't see yourself kind of being immersed in this topic for 2 to 3 years minimally, I think you should probably walk the other way, even if you think you can make a bunch of money from it. I'm so into like funnel hacking and stuff like that, and like being more creative and making more things, that I could live in this little bubble world for a while before I was like, ugh, I can't do this anymore. Like, definitely pick something you like, even if it makes it a little bit more competitive than you'd like. Just go into it with the idea that it's going to take you probably a couple of years before you're as successful as you want to be. Now, if you want to be really successful, you got to watch all my other videos, you got to like, you got to comment, you got to subscribe. Just give me all your money, and like, you don't have to write entirely about like drinking margaritas upside down in a hot air balloon.
Hello.
This is really fucking stupid. Okay.